why get all bunched up over a bunch of stuff sitting off the California coast? We should have been buying stuff from America all along. We make the best stuff.
Yeah, we sure do. And, General Pershing said that infantry wins battles and logistics wins wars. And I spent the first part of my life fighting those battles in the military. And now I'm out of the military, and I'm trying to take our fight to our communist adversaries through the economic wars. And in order to do that, we got to own the supply chain, and we got to make stuff in America.
It would make things a lot easier, in terms of, some of these, a future issue with supply chain, that it would make it easier if we made things in the United States. Of course, I think that's absolutely correct.
I mean, we learned how vulnerable we were last year. I think the American public really got an eye-opening experience during the pandemic about how vulnerable we are in terms of our supply chains. Like, our medicine is made overwhelmingly in Asia. You've got, the supply chains themselves that are dependent on China. The impact of the Trump administration, all the tariffs, was not to reshore a lot of American manufacturing, but to nearshore it or to move it to other states and other countries in Asia, Singapore, Vietnam, which is good in a way in terms of our fight against the communist regime in China. But still, it's not what we need. It's not just about the American economy. It's about American labor and American families and American flourishing and American towns. Like, that's the key ingredient here. And so firing up these towns and having them producing these goods, it's a national security. It should be a national security priority. It's good for the country.
Well, it's interesting. First of all, I agree. China, one of the things that China does is, of course, they find American trademarks and then they make those products in China. Yeah. They steal the intellectual property. Right. And there's really no way to punish them. And, they make an iPhone in China or whatever it is that we make here in the United States. We don't make iPhones, but whatever it is that we produce here in the United States, they make a Chinese version that's created in China with Chinese labor in Chinese factories and sell it to Chinese people. So I definitely think, and let's be clear, I still think the United States, at least from what I'm reading right now, the United States economically is in a better position than China right now, with their, in terms of looking at my personal investments and the Chinese real estate crisis. Have you been following that?
Yeah, it's bad. And China's not bailing out these giant firms.
Right. So China, I think our economy, we always, of course, it's kind of like when your parents used to say, there's starving kids in Africa who would love that food. Like China's economy is in probably a worse position than we are here in the United States.
Just while we're on the issue, I was talking to Gordon Chang recently, who is an expert on China, and he was telling me that, it's interesting that Xi Jinping has not left the country for a while. So he's, the head of China, Xi Jinping, has not actually left the country at all. And what that suggests to Gordon Chang is that his hold on power is tenuous, that if he were to leave the country, he would fear that a coup may occur upon his exit, his physical exit from the country. So when you watch these big meetings, like on climate change and the UN stuff, Xi Jinping is not going, although all these other world leaders are going. And that's where Gordon Chang senses there's some weakness here. Now, in the midst of this, Xi Jinping is right now he's trying to tighten his hold on the Communist Party. They just announced that he's one of the major historical figures for the country. That was this past week. It was considered an honor that's only reserved for two other people, including Chairman Mao. And coming up next year, he's going to move to, he's already kind of broken through the barrier on term limits, but he intends to try and secure another term by getting the Chinese Communist Party to fall in line. So some interesting crap is going on. And in fact, today, he's having his first so-called face-to-face meeting with Joe Biden. They're doing it over video chat.
Yeah, it's a video.
And
it's a video summit.
Something super interesting is going on with China right now.